community for learning. Today we're going to talk about synthesis. Now this is my third time trying to make this film. The first time took 30 minutes, the second time 10 minutes, so I'm going to really condense it this time and see if we can get it under 5 minutes. I'm using QuickTime Session View, which just records everything on the screen. And I happen to be using my photo booth so we can see my terrible bedhead. Alright, let's get to it. Synthesis is basically a combination of different elements to create one coherent sound. In synthesizers, we're talking about wave shapes, different wave shapes, and wave sounds to create one unique sound. I'm using the Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW Reason, and I'm going to be using the Subtractor synthesis. The first sound we're going to make is an organ sound. An organ sound has a nice smooth sound. So the first thing we want to do is select our sound source or sound generator, which are our oscillators. So on this subtractor, we have two different oscillators we can use. We're going to be using both of them for this, which would be additive synthesis, combining two oscillators. So we're going to set the wave shapes to sine waves, set the octaves apart. It's going to be going through our filter frequency, which is subtracting. That's part of the subtractive synthesis. In this case, we're using a low pass filter, which is letting the low frequencies pass through and cutting or attenuating the high frequencies. Now, in this case, we're actually modifying the organ sound with our keyboard or our MIDI keyboard. It's telling our synthesizer which pitches to play. It's going to be that's telling the oscillators what to do. Our destination is our oscillators, and that's going through our filters, which is then going through our amplifier, which is right over here. And this amplifier is an envelope, which uses ADSR, which means attack, decay, sustain, release. Attack being how quickly or slowly the sound is produced after pressing down a single key. And then decay is after it's reached its max volume attack, then it decays down to its sustained level, which is a volume. And then after you release the key, we get our release, which is how long it takes the sound to stop after releasing the key. So the next sound, so we got our organ here. Let me just turn this up a bit. Okay, there we go. We got a quick attack. Let's slow the decay down. Crank the sustain up, which again is our volume, and no release. If I crank the release up and let go of the keys, then it just stays on forever. Lower the release, and it ends. Okay, the next sound we're going to go to is called a sweep. Now, a sweep is more of a sound effect. So what's going to be happening with this one is we got our main oscillator set to a square wave. It's going to be going through our filter, and it's going to be affected or modulated by our low frequency oscillator. A low frequency oscillator produces sound waves that we can't perceive with our human ear, so below 20 decibels. Now we can still feel these sound waves. They're still going through the air. We can still feel them. So what we can do is use them to manipulate other sounds. So if we go over to our LFO, we can choose which wave shape, and we can select our destination. In this case, we're selecting the pitch. So when I push the key, let's see what happens. Nice, and we're using a sawtooth, a reverse sawtooth, which is called a ramp. So it's going to start off at a high pitch and go down to a low pitch, which is also going through the amplifier envelope. Let's take a look at our next sound, which is going to be the infamous wobble bass, which we hear in dubstep so often, and I know you all love dubstep, so let's take a listen. Okay, with the wobble bass, we're going to be using additive synthesis with two different oscillators. I'm going to try out this funky 8 waveform. We're going to do a bit of detuning. Oscillator 2, I'm going to be using a sine wave. And we're going to be going through our filter frequency cutoff. And we're also going to be using the low frequency oscillator to affect, in this case, our filter frequency, which is up here. So what's going to be happening is through this triangle wave, it's going to be affecting this filter frequency like this in a triangular form. Okay, let's check out something else now. The last one we have is our lead sound. Now the lead sound is a nice edgy kind of attack sound used for playing the melodies. This one we're using again, additive synthesis, 2 oscillators, both set to square waves. One several octaves apart, detuned, mixed. We're going to use our filter, and actually let's crank up the filter a bit on this one. Let's see. And we're using the resonance. Now what the resonance does is it boosts the frequencies or the harmonics at the different levels. So if we lower it, it kind of softens the sound. Raise it up and gives it a really edgy sound. So here we're also the mix. So let's take a listen to that. Now we can change the different amounts. Now you can hear it more exaggerated, changing between the 2 different oscillators. So let's take a listen to a song I quickly produced here. It's not very good. It's not a dubstep song, but it gives us a little bit of an example of how these different things sound. It starts off with a filter sweep. So there you go. We got a bit of a quick snapshot of synthesis. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Tried to get my son in here to play a little synthesizer for you, but he got scared away at the last second. So have a great day.